morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to our program tonight. We have a jam-packed program for you tonight, guys. Grab your seatbelts, grab your partner, grab your popcorn, and let's get on with this tonight. Lots of stuff happening. Literally, lots of stuff. I want to start off tonight up in Alaska. Okay? Way up in Alaska. This is Cordovan Volcano over in the ARTIC volcano area. Okay? Up in the Aleutian Islands. And this is important. Okay? That area is ramping up again for another event. Okay, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you, being honest with you, to let you know exactly what's going on. This area of Alaska over in the west central Aleutian Islands is ramping up for another event. It's going to happen. I guarantee you it's going to happen. Now, how soon it's going to happen, we don't know. We honestly don't know. We have a feeling it could be very soon. We have 3 volcanoes there. 3 separate and distinct volcanoes there. And it looks to be like one of them might erupt very soon. Okay? Looks to be like one of them might erupt very soon. Over here in the Aleutian Islands, okay? Again, this is in the ARTIC Aleutian Islands. Let's pull up the map here. Okay, I've got a map right here. Okay, this is the ARTIC Volcanic Complex. The ARTIC Volcanic Complex. This is where 3 different volcanoes are. Okay? Right here where you see that yellow triangle is where Cordovan Volcano is. Okay? And it's getting ready to move. It's getting ready to move. We need to be knowing what's going on. Okay? We need to be very ready to what might happen. Okay? Now, what do you think might happen? Okay? Cordovan Volcano is 5,030 feet above sea level. 1,553 meters above sea level. Okay? It's a stratovolcano. Cordovan Volcano has been the site of most historical volcanic activity. It has a small rolling lake, a small rolling crater lake that occasionally produces energetic steam emissions, similar like you see at Crater Lake in Oregon. Okay? Cordovan has erupted several times in the past 200 years. Once in 1973, once in 1987, and 1988. And it has likely had small ash emissions as recently as 2005. Okay? There's been no further activity detected at the ARTIC Volcanic Complex since a small explosion event happened at approximately 7:26 p.m. Alaska time yesterday. That's about 3:26 p.m. Eastern time, and it's about 12:30 p.m. in California, just to give you an idea. Okay? Now here, the seismicity, the number of earthquakes and the strength of these earthquakes remains low. Tremors and microquakes for the most part. Thus, the aviation color code for Cordovan is alert level yellow. Yellow advisory. Okay? To look further into this, further analysis of geophysical data confirms the source of the explosion at the Summit Lake region of Cordovan Volcano. The summit region of the volcano at the Summit Lake. Okay? The data from satellites last evening show no evidence, I repeat, no evidence of hot material at the surface of the lake. Okay? Now, the scientists at the Alaska Volcanic Observatory say this was a steam-driven explosion. What do we know about explosions of volcanoes? What do we know about steam-driven explosions at volcanoes? Let's take a look at the volcanoes, okay? Okay? This is a cross-section of the volcanoes. All of the volcanoes, okay? Let me enlarge this so it has full screen so we can really take an accurate look at what it is, okay? Down beneath the volcano we have a magma reservoir, don't we? Okay? That magma reservoir has various feelers out, okay? As the magma reservoir lets magma out of it, it goes through and cuts bedrock. It cuts through the bedrock, establishing a magma channel. Just like the magma does inside the volcano, as it's going up, it cuts through the bedrock, creating earthquakes, okay? Fractures rock, creating earthquakes. The same thing on a horizontal basis as well as the magma goes through the ground, cutting through bedrock. Fracturing rocks as it goes, creating earthquakes. Now you can see what happens here. As magma goes upwards outside of the volcano, it's called a dike. We've talked about dikes before. Here you see a dike on the left side of the volcano here underground. You see another dike on the left side also, okay? Now, over on the far left side, okay, that's called a laccolith. Okay? A laccolith is magma that comes up towards the ground, but it doesn't make over the surface. It doesn't break the surface. Okay? Now, one other thing you see here, you see the main magma chamber of this volcano. Okay? Then you see a side vent. Magma that's pushed away from the main magma channel of the volcano over to the side of the volcano. Okay? It's called a side vent. Magma works its way through the rock of the volcano out to the side of the volcano, and that's how we get side vent lava out of the side of the volcano. Okay? We also have in this case a parasitic cone. A parasitic cone. That cone is made by lava coming out of the volcano over the years. It's a main cone. Okay? After that, we have a more rigid cone. Okay? More rigid cone over here in orange. That is where the lava comes out of the crater down the sides of the volcano. Okay? You see the lava flow coming out. Okay? This gives you a good idea of what we're talking about when we have volcanic eruptions. Now let me show you another slide here that will further enhance your idea of what the volcanoes are going through. Okay? Let me pull the one that I really want to show you here. Now, okay, I want to show you the seismogram from the Alaska Volcanic Observatory at Cordovan Volcano. Okay? This is a USGS seismogram. Look at these earthquakes. Look at these earthquakes, guys. Okay? Now, over here at the top it says it has yesterday at 8 p.m. I'm sorry, 12 noon. Yesterday at 12 noon. Look at these earthquakes that happened. Okay? One of these earthquakes happened at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. That, folks, is a 2.9 3.0 small earthquake. 2.9 3.0 small earthquake. This one later here occurred just after 10 p.m. 2200 hours is 10 p.m. Okay? This also was a 3.0 earthquake. Okay? These were steam events. These were steam events. The steam making its way up the magma chamber. Okay? Again, I want to emphasize that these volcanoes, inside the volcano we have magma, correct? Okay? 6 to 7% of the magma is water. 6 to 7% of the magma is water. Scientists are telling us that these earthquakes were caused by steam. Steam trying to make its way through the volcanic cone at the top. The great big huge volcanic rock at the top. That rock was leftover lava after it last erupted. It was a solid piece of volcanic rock. Now, over the years, okay, since it last erupted, at Corvon Volcano, the magma beneath the volcano, beneath the summit of the volcano, beneath this rock, hammered away at the rock. Hammered away at the summit of the rock. Okay? Until cracks began to appear. At first, those cracks might be tiny. Okay? Why are we talking about this? Why do you think we're talking about this? Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to find the slide that I want to show you here. We can look at this one. This is a good one as well, okay? This one is a good one as well. This one shows the magma coming out of the summit of the volcano, where we have an ash cloud involved and lava going down the side of the volcano. Up at the top of this, right above the magma inside the volcano, we have a lava rock, right? I've explained that before. The lava hammers away at that lava rock until it develops fissures in it. Okay? The fissures over there at the top of the volcano allow steam to escape at some point in time. As the steam escapes, those fissures become wider and wider and wider. It's a physics experiment. First, the magma hammers away, creating those small fissures or cracks in the rock. As that hot steam goes through those fissures, it widens those fissures out, allowing more and more steam to escape. In this case, guess what? Corvon Volcano also has a lake at the top of it. Corvon Volcano has a lake at the top of it, a very frigid Arctic lake at the top of it. Okay? So when this volcano had that steam eruption, okay, it was a phreatic steam eruption at the top of the volcano. There was no magma, and they don't believe there was any ash. They don't believe there was any ash. All it was steam trying to escape the volcano through the water of the lake. Okay? That's why we had earthquakes at the top of Corvon Volcano. That is what caused those earthquakes at the top of Corvon Volcano. Okay? That gives you a good idea of what we're talking about here. Now, there are 3 volcanoes in Alaska I want to show you tonight. 3 different volcanoes here in Alaska that I want to show you tonight. The next one I want to talk about is Mount Spur. Good old Mount Spur. Guess what? Mount Spur here may have had an eruption. Good old Mount Spur may have had an eruption last night. Okay? This is just a little bit different. Okay? This is just a little bit different. Now, over at Corvon, they said there may be additional explosions possible in the near future around that lake. And the steam tries to escape the volcano, and the steam tries to escape the volcano through the water. Again, hot steam and cold water does what? It explodes. It explodes. Now, what else is going on? Local seismic and infrasound sensors and web-based cameras through the satellites are used to monitor these volcanoes in the Aleutian Islands. They have a local sensor network. but it's supplemented with regional infrasound and lighting networks through satellite data. Okay? Let's go and talk about Mount Spur. Mount Spur is a volcano there. It's a great big huge stratovolcano. Great big huge stratovolcano. Let me show you the different kinds of volcanoes here. Okay? Let me pull up another slide here. I want to show you the different kinds of volcanoes around the world. This might give you an additional idea how these volcanoes erupt and what we might see around the world. As we've talked about the volcanoes over in Santorini in Italy, we talked about the supervolcano over in Italy. Santorini is in Greece, Santorini is in Greece. Campi Flegrei is in Italy. Okay? Let's look at this slide. It should give you an idea, a better idea of what is going on there. Okay? Let me reduce this in size a little bit. Okay? I'll keep that one at Mount Spur still there so we can refer back to it. Okay? There's basically 4 kinds of volcanoes. The first one is a fissure volcano, just like we had over in Hawaii after Kilauea and Pu'u'o volcanoes drained out. The lava went horizontal instead of up through Kilauea or Pu'u'o. That magma, that lava went back down into the ground, into the magma chamber, and it was going horizontal, causing earthquakes underground as it cut through the bedrock. Over here on the left-hand side, we have a fissure volcano. In Hawaii, 24 fissures developed, just like this fissure volcano here. 24 different fissures opened up. This is the same thing that happens over in Iceland, that has happened in Iceland. Fissure volcanoes. Okay? Next, we have a shield volcano. Shield volcano. Okay? We have many shield volcanoes around the world. Okay? They look a little bit like a stratovolcano, don't they? Okay? That is a shield volcano, where the magma comes straight up out of the ground, and after it comes out of the ground, it goes down the side of the volcano or the side of the hole in the ground, and over the years, as the lava comes out, the hill will grow taller and taller and taller until we see one of these structures like we're showing you here. Okay? Then we have a composite volcano. A composite volcano. A composite is like Great Sitkin volcano. We're going to talk about Great Sitkin volcano in a few minutes. Okay? This is a cone volcano. This is a cone volcano. Okay? A composite. What they say is a composite. Okay? It goes straight up in the air, high up in the air. Okay? As the lava comes down, you see it forms more like a cone. Okay? The caldera volcano, just like we have over at Atka, Alaska, just like we have at Crater Lake. Okay? Where we have a cone that developed. Okay? As the lava cooled, it left walls around the crater where the lava had been. In this case, these caldera volcanoes get water in them. In the case of Kilauea over in Hawaii right now, it hasn't had a chance to develop groundwater at the top of the caldera yet. When it first erupted back in 2018, there had been some water at the bottom of the volcano, inside the volcano. After a while, Kilauea volcano erupted so often that the water boiled up. Now, the Kilauea volcano is still erupting. Okay? Great big huge lava fissures have developed at the top of Kilauea. They're fountaining. Those fissures are fountaining in the caldera of Kilauea volcano. Over at Crater Lake in Oregon, the same kind of thing happened. Okay? But over the years, groundwater and rainwater and snow helped fill that caldera area of Crater Lake. Now it's a huge alpine lake. Okay? You see all these 4 different kinds of volcanoes. These are the main kinds of volcanoes that we're going to deal with while we talk about volcanoes. Whenever we talk about volcanoes. Okay? Now, let's go back to Spur. Okay? It's very likely that Spur will erupt again. It's very likely that Spur will erupt again. Okay? We believe it will. Okay? There is no evidence right now of hot material at the surface of the volcano. There's no evidence of lava at the top of the volcano right now. Okay? Now, if we show that evidence, if it ever shows on the satellite, and right now the top of that volcano is in the clouds, okay, we have no current pictures of Mount Spur right now. The only picture we had is I showed you just a few minutes ago. Let's go back to that. Right there. That's Mount Spur. As we go through the next few months, even years, that volcano will probably still look the way it is, unless it erupts. In which case, there is a steam element here. Mount Spur has been steaming. Again, steam coming from the magma deep inside the volcano through tiny fissure holes in the rock at the top of the volcano, the volcanic plug. Okay? That rock at the top of the volcano holding the magma in is called a magma plug. A lava plug. Excuse me. A lava plug. As I said, the hot steam and the magma beneath that lava rock pounding on that rock created fissures in the rock. Tiny holes in the rock. Steam comes in there, hot steam comes through those fissures and makes those fissures wider. At some point in time, that lava rock plug is going to pop, because it will have a ton of fissures there, and the fissures kept letting hot steam from the magma come up, and that hot steam widened those holes in the rock, and finally, that rock will pop in a million pieces. Then we will have a volcanic eruption. Okay? That is what is presently going on beneath Mount Spur. Okay? What has happened at Mount Spur is steam driven. Steam driven. The same thing at Cordovan Volcano. Steam driven. Caused by overpressure of the subsurface beneath the cap of the lake. Okay? This type of singular explosion is common at Cordovan Volcano and other volcanoes such as Crater Lake. Minor amounts of ash were likely erupted in the immediate vicinity of the vent. Let's go back and look at my diagrams showing these earthquakes, okay? Or showing these volcanoes, excuse me. Let's go back and take a look at this. Okay. Here's that same volcanic diagram we looked at a few minutes ago, showing the side of the vent. Okay, that's what's going on. Okay, minor amounts of activity have been recorded at the vents of the volcano. Okay, but it has not been confirmed as of yet. Additional explosions are possible in the near future, but scientists are saying those explosions are unlikely. Okay? Local seismic and infrasound sensors and web-based cameras hooked up to satellites are watching these volcanoes. They're watching all of the volcanoes in the Aleutian Island chain. Okay? As I said before, all of the volcanoes worldwide right now are being recharged. So we are seeing activity at these volcanoes. Why am I going through this with such a fine-tooth comb? Why are we doing that? Because, folks, during the past few weeks, we've had two other volcanoes creating news here around the world. Santorini volcano over in Greece, over in the Peloponnese Islands, just east of mainland Greece. Let me show you what's going on here. Let me take this diagram down here, so you see my good old face right here. Let me take down Mount Spur, and I want to show you what is actually going on, okay, at Santorini volcano over in the Aleutian Islands. Santorini and Colombo volcanoes in the Aleutian Islands. Okay? Presently today, there are about 20 earthquakes around Santorini. The number of earthquakes that have happened is less and less over the past week. Okay, at one point in time, we had over 4,000 earthquakes at Santorini. Over 4,000 earthquakes in the Aegean Sea near Santorini. It's gotten to be a lot less. Now we have about 20 earthquakes today. Let me take you over to Santorini so you can see what we're saying here. Okay, let me show you this. See, we have 10 plus over by Santorini, and we have another 10 over on the western side of Turkey. But over here in the ocean here, we cannot get this dot here that says 10 plus to get anything less and show all the earthquakes. We believe there are 20 plus earthquakes here. Okay? There's a total of 20 plus earthquakes there. Now, see that island right there? Just south of those earthquakes? This, folks, is Santorini here. We have Colombo volcano. We have Colombo volcano right here. Okay? Most of these earthquakes are north of Santorini, but they're east of Colombo right here in the Aegean Sea. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. There's about 20 earthquakes out there. 20 earthquakes. Now, let's go over and take a look at Italy. Let's take a look at Italy. Okay? There are fewer earthquakes over in Italy today as well. Everybody was very worried about Campi Flegrei. Campi Flegrei. Right now we're showing one earthquake near Campi Flegrei, and out east there, this earthquake is near Campania, Italy. This is a 2.0 here near Campania, Italy here, and Flegrei, this is a 2.1. 2.1 here east of there in Campania, Italy, we have a 2.0. Okay? Things have drastically changed in Italy as well. Okay? Scientists are really worried about Campi Flegrei. It's a supervolcano. It's very much a supervolcano, guys. It still has a possibility of erupting, and erupting in a big way. I'm just telling you. There's a very good chance that it will erupt in a huge, huge way. Okay? They have evacuated Campi Flegrei area. Yes, there's some people that have stuck around just like it has happened over in Santorini, where they evacuated about 40% of Santorini. I shouldn't say 60% of Santorini, and 40% were left behind. Okay? But right now, earthquakes have calmed down over around Campi Flegrei. They were worried about the supervolcano erupting. And it still might. It still might. Remember what happened in 1980 when Mount St. Helens went? Earthquakes calmed down, and then all of a sudden, after USGS allowed people to enter the area around Mount St. Helens again, all of a sudden Mount St. Helens blew. The Italians are still worried about Campi Flegrei going. And there is a possibility that could happen. But right now, things are calm. Things are very calm. Fortunately. Do I expect it to change? Possibly. But after the intense and long seismic swarms that have happened, especially over the last few days, the earth in the flagrant hills returns to trembling. Tiny earthquakes, minor earthquakes, this morning, okay? The seismographs over around Campi Flegrei have oscillated. They've moved. Tiny earthquakes, tremors, minor earthquakes at best. 2.3 earthquake on the Richter scale at 8:53 a.m. this morning. That seismic event this morning was not only felt in the municipalities struck in the flagrant hills and fields such as POSSILE and Volcano, but also in the districts of the western area of Naples that fall in the area of the caldera, such as Bagnoli and Ferragotta. Okay? Those earthquakes that were in the caldera at Campi Flegrei. Okay? That is part of the supervolcano caldera. That whole area there is part of the volcano at Campi Flegrei. A great big huge city is in that caldera. Huge city is in that caldera. And they've been seeing and feeling those minor earthquakes today. Fortunately, the earthquakes have stopped so far. Okay? But the seismograph, and I was not able to download, I thought I downloaded it, but apparently I haven't. But the seismogram showed a lot of earthquakes. A lot of earthquakes. And then all of a sudden it got quiet. The seismogram got quiet. Did they shut down the seismograph as we've seen them do before? Possibly. But now we are only getting minor tremors and microquakes around Campi Flegrei. Okay? The most intense earthquake today was a 2.1 over Campi Flegrei. The other two that were followed only a couple minutes later were less intense. But a 2.1 minor earthquake doesn't really shake anybody up. 2.1s cannot be felt. Very minor tremor. Minor earthquake. 3.0 and larger can be felt. Okay? Over in Santorini. Right now, I showed you the earthquakes showing over on the map, over in the Aegean Sea. Right now, Santorini's future hangs in the balance. Scientists have said that they keep seeing deep magma shifts. Deep magma shifts as the magma moves through the bedrock on a horizontal basis. As the magma moves through the bedrock on a horizontal basis, it causes those earthquakes we talked about. Okay? But they're seeing deep magma shifts originating northeast of the island of Aveyah, Anhydra, Andrea, Greece, an island out there. Emily Hoft, who's a geologist at the University of Oregon has been listening to the breathing of the Santorini volcano for years. She says, what we are seeing deep magma shifts, but not necessarily leading to an eruption. Not necessarily leading to an eruption. That's good for those people over in Santorini. It's good for those residents. It's also good for the tourists. Santorini is just beginning the tourist season right now. If the Greek people there had to shut off all tourism for the year when it's just starting right now, they would lose a lot of money. So hopefully these earthquakes that they've been having calm down. Hopefully things calm down. That's what they're hoping. That's what they're hoping. Now, the earthquakes that come with this movement that they have been experiencing beneath Santorini, okay, they might actually reduce the likelihood of immediate volcanic eruption. The earthquakes that they've been experiencing lately are microquakes and minor tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.3 minor tremors, microquakes 0.1 to 0.9. Okay? Now, as I said, this might be reassuring to the tourist people and the people that operate the different boats and other activities around Greece. Okay? If they can even think right now all that these activities that are happening, these tremors that are happening, are releasing the steam or the stress from what's going on beneath the surface. That's what they're hoping. Okay? With that magma often entering the crust, staying beneath the islands there. Okay? Yes, it is causing rock fracturing. But as long as it stays there and doesn't move all the time, and it's only causing microquakes and minor earthquakes, minor tremors, then they are good with that. It might be just releasing stress. That's what they hope. There is a small chance that the magma could break through and we could see a lava eruption at the surface. We could see a lava eruption down in the ocean. Okay, we've talked about undersea volcanoes before. That could happen. Or the magma might come up under the island, as we told you before. We have seen a land rise at Santorini and over at the other islands there, meaning the magma beneath the surface, the magma reservoir beneath the surface, is forcing land to rise. Okay? Hopefully, things will calm down. Okay? Now, the lady from Oregon, Emily says that the most magma movements never reach the surface, with the magma often entering the crust, staying there, pushing its way through the bedrock, entering the crust, and staying there. There is a small chance it could break through. Okay? They might see an underwater volcano. Okay? Southwest of Anhydra. 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 Now, although it is believed that if an eruption did occur, would not be dramatic. If ash was to be released in the air, it could majorly impact air travel all over Europe. And it could impact air travel of the tourists getting into Greece or anywhere else. It could be a tourist blow. Okay? They might not be able to see tourists over anywhere in Europe for quite a while. Okay? And we said a submarine eruption, underwater eruption, wouldn't necessarily pose a threat to Santorini, but it would to the other islands over there in the Dupage Islands. Okay? If ash were released into the air travel and local respiratory conditions could be affected. Air travel and local respiratory conditions could be affected. Okay? We saw that happen in the Canary Islands a few years ago. Scientists are keeping a very watchful eye on Santorini volcano and other areas in that area. Now, why? Why are they so interested in it? Again, they're entering tourist season. They're entering tourist season. Right now, they're getting ready for Easter. Greece is a very much Catholic church religion there. Okay? They're entering the holiday season there in Italy and Greece. Now, as the tourist season nears, residents and businesses in Santorini have been in limbo since the swarm of tremors began. Many residents seemingly had enough of the tremors, with over 11,000 people packing their bags, leaving their homes, and leaving the island for mainland Greece. Okay? That's what's happened. Right now, both the volcano at Santorini and the volcano over in Italy have calmed down. We hope that continues. We hope that continues. Bob Knauber, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. Does anybody have any questions about volcanoes and the things we talked about? Do you have any questions about anything we talked about? Don Patoga, one of my mods here in the chat, said quake downgrading, portrayed as a new normal. Yeah, they've been doing that a lot. They've been downgrading earthquakes a lot. More now than ever before. Okay? The other day we had a 6.0 earthquake and they downgraded immediately to a 5.6. Last week, a week ago Sunday, actually this week it'll be 2 weeks on Sunday, we had an 8.0 over in the Caribbean, south of the Cayman Islands. That was an 8.0. They immediately downgraded to a 7.6. That was a very major earthquake. Even a 7.6 was a major earthquake. But they downgraded to 400% less than what it was. Unreal. Richard Smith is over in Nova Scotia, Canada. He's here in the chat saying there's a volcanic system there in the Digby-Annapolis Basin where he lives in Nova Scotia. And yes, you had some tremors happening there. Because again, the magma reservoir beneath Digby is refilling. That's why you're seeing some minor tremors and microquakes happening there. Now, there's not as many earthquakes and stuff as there are over on the West Coast. The East Coast of North America doesn't seem to see as many earthquakes as does the West Coast. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Sage Club says a volcano in Iceland stopped air traffic to the UK. It did. It did. That's a few years back. Let me show you that volcano. Let's go over to the USGS map. Bardabunga volcano. Good old Bardabunga volcano. I'm going to take down our EMA banner. Let me take down my fancy smiling face down there. And let's go over here. We're now in the Pacific Ocean here. I was going to show you an earthquake over near Fiji, okay? But for now, let's not go there. and let's go and check out come on, let's go. Let's go up here and check out Iceland. Doggone it. I hate it when USGS does this. See where it says Iceland there? Go straight down here to the east coast, southeast coast of Iceland here. Right here. This is Bardabuga volcano right here. Quite a few years ago, Bardabuga volcano erupted. When it did, it sent ash out about 18,000 feet above sea level, up into the stratosphere. When that happened, what happened with the air travel? You don't take jet planes, jet engines into an ash cloud. It shut down travel all over Europe because of that. That Bardabuga volcano shut down air travel. Now, USGS is not showing you all the earthquakes here either. We have 3 earthquakes over here in Iceland. One just to the west side of Bardabuga volcano. Let me bring that up again for you here. Now, I'm going to go over to my and actually now they've cut it down to 2. Well, 2 is better than none. 2 is better than none. Let's take down the USGS map here. This ice sheet you see here, that ice sheet is a glacier. Beneath that glacier is Bardabuga volcano. See that line that's going right through Iceland there? That is the North Mid-Atlantic Fault. The North Mid-Atlantic Fault. The North Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. The North Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. That earthquake is Bardabuga volcano. This is a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. A 2.2 minor earthquake over here near Bardabuga volcano. Now, I'm not saying that the earthquake was at the volcano, but the volcano is right beneath the ice sheet there. The volcano is right beneath that ice sheet there. Okay? We had another earthquake over here towards Reykjavik here. Okay? We had another earthquake over here close to Reykjavik. I'm trying to show Reykjavik here, if it will allow me to. Okay, this is Reykjavik, Iceland. This is the northwest side of the Reykjanes Peninsula. Northwest side of Reykjanes Peninsula. We had a 2.3 earthquake here. They've since taken it down. Now we still have an earthquake, and it's just north of Greenvik. It's north of Greenvik. This is near Skofell. Near Skofell, right there. This is north of Greenvik, northwest of Greenvik. Folks, just south of here is where we had a fissure eruption a couple months ago. That eruption ended, and the fissure that had been erupting left volcanic cones. 2 different volcanic cones there. 2 different volcanic cones. Now, folks, what is happening there? See this earthquake here? This earthquake is a 2.2 earthquake. The magma beneath the surface here in Iceland is pushing horizontally through the bedrock. The magma beneath this ground here is pushing horizontally through the bedrock, causing this particular earthquake. Now, let's go over here . Just a second, I'm trying to set this up so you can see it. Just a second, I'm trying to set this up. Come on, let me do this. Jeez Louise. Okay, I'm going to show you two things right here. Okay? I want to show you Grindavik here. Grindavik is a seaport on the southeast side of the Reykjanes Peninsula. The southeast side of the Reykjanes Peninsula. This is the about central part of the Reykjanes Peninsula. This is a town of about 3,000 people. Okay, the lava here came out of the volcano, came out of a fissure volcano right here, a fissure volcano. Okay, there were actually two eruptions. One right smack dab here on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Right smack dab on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. When that erupted, it sent lava out here just south of Grindavik. Then, after that first fissure erupted, a second fissure closer to Grindavik erupted right here. That sent lava over here into the western part of Grindavik. In the western part of Grindavik. Now, when that happened, the homes that were right here burned down to the ground. The homes that were right here on the western side of Grindavik burned down to the ground. 3 different homes completely destroyed right here. 3 different homes completely destroyed right here in western Grindavik. See this road here? If you were allowed to travel that road and there were no fissure eruptions going on, you're allowed to travel this road, it will lead to Reykjavik. This is the Reykjavik Highway leading to Reykjavik or leading down to Grindavik. Okay? Now, on the other side of this highway, right here, okay? We talked about this a lot. There is a great big huge geothermal facility right here. A great big huge geothermal facility right here. What do they do there? Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano here to obtain steam. That steam powers Iceland with electricity and also hot water. Hot water. Right beneath this facility here is a great big huge magma reservoir. Right beneath this facility here is a great big huge magma reservoir. Okay? When that magma refilled, every time it refilled, the lava went further to the north out here. It went further to the north out here. And it continued to move. It continued to move here. Then we have fissure eruptions out here as well. And they kept moving north here. Now we're seeing more earthquakes north of the power plant. Okay? North of that power plant. That's because there's a great big huge magma chamber here. Okay? What else is there? Can anybody tell me what you might remember about that power plant and what is right next to, just west of the power plant? What is there? Anybody remember? Anybody remember what's just northeast of Greenvik. They had that power plant we talked about. Okay? They were worried that that power plant might not be there anymore. They thought that that volcano would erupt and destroy the power plant. They were very concerned about it. So far, that didn't happen. Don Patoga says there's H2O just to the west side of that power plant. Don, you are absolutely right. There is H2O there. Okay? There's the power plant there, the geothermal power plant. There's all kinds of water here. Groundwater. Groundwater that is superheated above that magma chamber here. Superheated groundwater. Okay? It's called the Blue Lagoon Spa. The Blue Lagoon Spa. The Blue Lagoon Spa here is a major employer of Icelandic people here, but also a huge, huge financial boost to the island of Iceland. Okay, Iceland counts on this geothermal power plant and also counts on the Blue Lagoon Spa for their livelihood. Because people from all over the world, including here on the east coast of the United States and all the way over to California and all the way from Japan as well, come over here to the Blue Lagoon Spa to sit in the natural waters here, and they also have healing property. That lava or that magma-fueled water here has healing properties in it. Okay? That's why they come there. That's why they come there. And again, north of that power plant, we're seeing earthquakes. We're seeing earthquakes. And actually, this earthquake here may signal that the magma has gone far enough past that power plant, all the way out here on the earthquake fault, on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. If that's the case, the magma is coming through the bedrock here beneath that fault, forcing its way through, and we could see another open fissure here along the North Mid-Atlantic Fault. We can see another ocean of water and magma mixing together in lava and have a major phreatic eruption here. Major phreatic eruption. Richard Smith says probably good for arthritis. You're right. A lot of people go over here to Iceland to sit in the Blue Lagoon water spa. Okay? There's various places you can go. One is over west of Denver on the east or on the west side of the Rocky Mountains, and there's a spa there. It's a great place. I've been there. We've been there many times. I've been there many times. Okay? Now there's earthquakes all around the world. Literally all around the world. Tom Patuka says, Arthur and I are very good friends. Oh yeah, me too. Me too, brother. Me too. But it's Friday, guys. I want to talk about something besides earthquakes. Yes, we have earthquakes all over the place. Look at all those earthquakes over in Chile and Peru. Look at them. Over in Colombia, Central America, and South America. Over here in southern Mexico. Earthquakes all over. And even what we were talking about last night. Okay? A bunch of tremors here. A bunch of tremors here. Why? Why? The new matter fault, guys. The new matter fault. Unreal. Anyway, guys, there's nothing else pressing when we talk about earthquakes. But I want to talk about emergency preparedness now. I want to talk about emergency preparedness for earthquakes or whatever it might be. Okay? Why do we need to prepare for earthquakes? Why do we need to prepare for any other kind of emergency or disaster? Because it's going to affect our life and the way we do things. It's going to affect all of us. Plain and simple, it's going to affect all of us, guys. Me, you, everybody. I want to talk about sheltering in place. Sheltering in place. Yes, we've talked about bugging out before. I've talked about sheltering in place once or twice. That's where I want to go tonight. Those of you that have been in disasters, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, or whatever, you may have had to shelter in place and stay where you're at. You haven't had much of a chance to go anywhere else. Okay? Even though we have been warned that an evacuation might be possible, we might get warnings enough to believe that we may be evacuated. But maybe you can't be. Maybe you're stuck at home just like we were in 2020, 2021 time period because of COVID. Okay? That left most people that were prepared shell-shocked. COVID-19 left a lot of people shell-shocked. With schools across the United States closing, businesses closing their door, most companies asking their employees to work remotely, and entire cities shutting down. That meant families were isolated together all day, every day, all week long for months. What happened? Families were isolating together all day, every day. Our usual forms of entertainment, from eating out at restaurants, watching live sports games in person on the fields, or even going outside was a no-no. Even going to stores was only allowed sporadically. And we were told that if we went out, we would be arrested. All because of a madman. Actually, not just one madman, but a lot of madmen. Okay? I'm not going to get into the politics tonight. But all the things we usually do, including going to church, was canceled. What are people to do? What are families to do? Fortunately, if you prepared, there's plenty to do with your family. It will help you laugh and bond together and have fun together. Keeping busy. Doing things together and keeping busy. Don Patoka says, yeah, maybe I'm 77 years old and not mobile, LOL. Some of us are. Some of us are not mobile at all. Others of us just might be tired, worn out through all the political crap. Okay? Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, guys. I'm going to hopefully discuss some things that might give you ideas on how to keep the whining at bay. And also to keep yourself and everyone else entertained. Think about it. What activities could you enjoy together with your family or your neighbors? Have you ever wished that you could spend more time with your family, your neighbors, and friends? Now you get to, even if it is forced. And those extra hours after the schoolwork is finished, or your workday is finished, after the hours are over, what do you think you're going to do? You can do at least one thing together as a family, rather than everyone watching different shows on their individual devices. You're already isolated enough. Don't isolate from each other any longer. Work together. Work together with your friends. Invite your friends. If you don't have family there, invite your friends, your neighbors over for a game night. You might have multiple game nights together. Doing things together. Barbecuing together. Barbecuing together. Say you have an emergency and you're not able to travel very far at all. You're mostly stuck in your neighborhood. You and your friends that have food in your homes, you get together and barbecue and talk and laugh and play games. Okay? Force your teenagers to join you. Force your teenagers in your neighborhood to join you. Force the teenagers in your family to join you so everybody can have a good time. Who knows? Who knows, years from now, you may remember this time with great fondness, when your family had a lot of fun together, and you made lots of memories. We're talking about preparedness here, but I'm talking about having fun together. Now, I wrote this information up back in 2020. 5 years ago after I started this program. I want to share this information with you now because I still think it will make a difference. I believe this will still make a difference in all of our lives. Don Patoki just said something here in the chat that I think is important. The happiest people don't have the best of everything. But they just make the best of everything they have. They make the best of everything they have. Okay? Now, during that bad time that we had, and politics being what it was, we were forced to do things together at home. Didn't like it, but we were forced to do it together at home. Yes, we did make memories. We did make memories. We had to put up with politics, but we still were able to make memories in our homes with our families and our friends. Even if it was only talking 6 to 10 feet away from each other out in the front of our yard, or across fences, talking and laughing and giggling together. Maybe even having some game nights together, talking, setting up your chairs and talking. Okay? Get creative in your kitchens. This time, if you're isolated or you have to shelter in place for whatever emergency it is, get creative in your kitchen. Grocery shopping will look a lot different than it is right now. Just like it looked different back when we were isolated during 2020, 2021 because of the big bad man. You could only go grocery shopping maybe once a week, at that. And we couldn't be out very long because otherwise they were threatening us with arrest. Unreal. Things might be looking a bit different. But make a game of seeing who can come up with the most creative dishes. Okay? Get creative in the kitchen. Let's see who can come up with the most creative dishes of food to eat, using what you have on the shelves in your home. Exercise as a family. Exercise as a family. If you live in a more rural area and you don't easily come in contact with others, get outside. Go out in the yard. Stretch. Go for a walk together with your friends or your family. Okay? You might have a small family, or you get together with someone who does. You take your family out for a walk. Walk through your neighborhood. When I lived in Utah years back, near Don Patoka, about five blocks away from Don Patoka, there was a great big huge canyon. I can't say huge. There's a good sized canyon over there. And there were walking paths in that canyon. We did a lot of walking. Walked down the sidewalks, down in the middle of the street. Okay? Yes, we were supposed to be isolated from other people. But as long as we weren't together in a large group, right shoulder to shoulder with people, they couldn't stop us. Okay? So if you live in a rural area, or you can't come in easy contact with others, go outside, go for a walk as a family or with your neighbors. If the weather doesn't cooperate, or if you're in an area forced to shelter in place, find an exercise video on YouTube. Tackle that video together. Or if you have a Wii, that video player called Wii. If you have a Wii or another game, consult a game console that allows you to play chance games or interactive fitness games. Get moving and make a night of it. Make a night of it. It might be fun. Perhaps you could even play like you're bowling, or playing tennis, or racquetball, or even baseball. You can also play board games. My dear wife and I have a case of board games in our closet here. My wife and I happen to play a lot of Monopoly as of late. We love playing Monopoly. Okay? This is just the perfect time to play board games. Okay? If you have to shelter in place and you don't have a lot of other things to do, play a board game. Play a board game together with your children. My father used to play board games with all of us when we were little kids. Okay? 7, 8 years old, we were playing Monopoly with my father. And sometimes he'd beat us, and sometimes we'd beat him. Okay? Play board games. Monopoly. Bust out a Scrabble board game. Or if you have less than the ideal number of board games, play games like charades and or Pictionary. Pictionary. They have Pictionary on cable TV now, on the game channel. Pictionary. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And it doesn't require a board. It doesn't require a game set. All you have to do is have some pencil or pens and some paper. Charades or Pictionary doesn't require anything set up. That would be fun, huh? And you can play with your kids or anyone else. Teach your kids how to play cards. Introduce your kids to some of your favorite card games, like Rummy, or Spit, or President. How many of you played President before? I have. Back when I lived in Denver during the early 2000s, from April 2000 until about September of 2010, when I moved to Salt Lake City. We had 2 blizzards during those 10-year time periods in Denver. 2 big blizzards. Both of those blizzards lasted 3 days. Our neighbors and friends got together in one home. We had a fireplace in case the power went out. And yes, the power did go out a couple times. We allowed the fireplace to keep us warm and cook our food in it. That was a lot of fun. We played President. We played Monopoly. We played Rummy. All kinds of board games and card games. It was a lot of fun. Yes, we had some children there as well. We taught them how to play cards with us. Okay? How about record silly family videos? Using your phone or other device. You can record silly family videos. If you own a cell phone or an iPad or some other device like that, you have a video camera. Take some silly videos of your friends and family. You'll have a few laughs. Have your kids put on plays for your family. Have the children put on plays for your families. The kids are going to get a good time out of it, and the adults are going to enjoy seeing their children perform. Okay? Puppet shows. Puppet shows. I always laugh at Jeff Dunham. Those of you that know who Jeff Dunham is, you may have seen his videos on YouTube, or maybe you've seen him on the Comedy Channel on TV. I love it. I enjoy Jeff Dunham. But say, how about developing your own puppet shows? How about developing your own puppet shows? Wouldn't that be fun? As kids, we used to develop sock puppets. And yes, we worked sock puppets all the time. We had a good time. Even our parents got in on it. Us and our parents had a good time with sock puppets. We even made some puppets out of the socks. It wasn't just a sock. We put noses and eyes on the sock so we could maneuver the sock. It was awesome. Okay? Everyone could have a good time together. Okay? You can do it with your neighbors. You can do it with your kids or their kids, and or a bunch of them together. Put it on a play with sock puppets even. That's a lot of fun. Also, how about a dance-off? How about a dance-off? You have radios or you have music on your devices here. How about play some music and have a dance-off? Seen your kids dance in the middle of your living room, pushing the furniture back a little bit maybe, and having a dance-off in your living room, your basement, or even outside in the backyard or the front yard. With your friends, your neighbors, having a dance-off. I know back in the day, back when I lived in Sandy, Utah, we had one of our friends and we had a neighborhood picnic. And he had music. And yes, occasionally we even had friends of ours dancing in the middle of the street. We shut down the street for a block party and had a good time. Now, say you can't do the videos. For whatever reason you can't do videos. How about painting or drawing? Making our paper works of art. Okay? Painting or drawing can be a lot of fun. And we can get a few laughs at it. But also it can become something very enjoyable. Sheltering in place does not have to be boring. Okay? Those works of art on those paper, those stick figures, another art that you draw there could be very good time capsule of times in your life when you had to be together and you had fun. You had fun. You could also participate in Family Olympics. Family Olympics. Enlist your kids to get very creative and invent their own Olympic Games. Your whole family and your neighborhood could compete in your own neighborhood Olympics. Okay? Such as seeing who can walk the furthest with a book on their head. Seeing who can walk the furthest carrying a glass of water without spilling any out of it. And if you want to really get crazy, get smaller and smaller containers to hold the water. And as you're walking, you're going to slosh water out. See how far you can get. Develop a game yourself. And then you can reward the winner with a home-baked item. Home-baked treats. Pies, cakes, cookies. Popcorn. Unreal. You can do that. Now, something else you might want to consider doing, especially if you can't get together with anybody close. How about video message with your friends? Video messaging with your family members. Your family or friends might not be close enough to be together, but you can get on your phone and talk. Get on your device and talk. My kids and I and Carol have a good time almost every night FaceTiming. Her kids, or our kids, live 2,400 miles away. We FaceTime. We get to enjoy each other's spirits. We get to find out what they've been doing, things that they've been having fun, or maybe they haven't had that much fun. They can talk about how their day was. Or if they're discouraged, maybe we can help them or they can help us. FaceTiming on our devices or our computers or even on Skype. You can set up video conferencing to talk to the whole family. I've done that on Skype and I've done that on Zoom. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins at the same time. I have an aunt and uncle. I have an aunt and uncle that live over in Ogden, Utah. When I lived in Salt Lake area, we got together at least once or twice a year. My dad came down from Pocatello, Idaho to Salt Lake City, where we went up towards him and got together as a family, in a family reunion. Our aunts and uncles used to get together once a year for family reunion. Now, there's only my Uncle Ron and Rosella up in Ogden, Utah. Actually, not Ogden, Logan, Utah. They're the only aunts and uncles that we've got left. They're in their 90 years. I miss them. We've had some great talks. They've talked about their lives here on this earth, the things that they've gone through. They talked about our parents, their siblings. My Aunt Rosella was one of 11 children in my father's family. My dad was the youngest. My father died in 2015, December 15th, 2015. When Aunt Rosella was a child, my dad fell off her lap and broke his arm. Yes, we've even had times where we've all laughed about that. My dad teased his sister Rosella how she pushed him off her lap, what she didn't do. We've had good times. We learned a lot about our family. Maybe these sheltering in place are a time when we can take notes about our family life. Things we learned to do together. Lessons we learned. Or the fun times we have together as a family. Write it down. Because at some time, you're not going to see those people any longer. Write those things down. Family history is very important. And you'll be able to cherish those memories in years to come. So video messages with families are very important. Okay? Do it. During the spring and summer, you can go out into your yards. Plant flowers. Plant a garden. You might plant a lawn to play on in the summertime. As we move into spring, which is right around the corner for us. Yes, some of us still have snow on the ground. Others of it don't have that, and we had single-degree temperatures last night. Spring is around the corner. Maybe we're going to get together and do yard work. We can do yard work as a family or as neighbors and friends. Plant a garden. Even little kids can pull weeds. Even little kids can plant seeds. Little kids can help us weed the garden. Just little kids, even tiny kids, can see the tomatoes blossoming on plants, growing. And then they can help us gather the garden items out of the garden and take them in the house and wash them and prepare them as food. Great times teaching. Great times teaching our kids on how to plant a garden and then how to harvest the garden. I will never ever forget that. My own kids. My wife has a son that's autistic, severely autistic. My buddy Don Patoka knows who I'm talking about. I love my dear brother Louis, my stepson. Louis and I built a wooden fence on our house, in back of our house, years ago. At first, he wasn't sure what to do. We went to Home Depot and bought the lumber. We bought some concrete mix. We mixed sand and lime and cement together and made concrete with rocks in it. We put the fence post in the ground and poured concrete around it. I showed Louis how to make concrete as sand, rock, lime, and a little bit of cement, mixing up in a wheelbarrow. Louis had never done that before. This was something that my father taught me when I was yet a young man. And here my son, Louis, was helping me mix concrete. No, we never got to lay bricks like my father and I did, laying bricks and blocks and rock, building fireplaces. Louis and I built a fence with fence planking and 2x4s and some posts we set in the ground with concrete. Louis and I both had a grand time. Carol and I also had a good time, and our granddaughter and her mother were out there with us as well. We had a great time. You're going to find that going out in the yard with your family and friends can be very enjoyable. And doing and creating projects to work on. You're going to have a time to laugh, a time to work, and a time to play as well. A time to laugh and a time to talk. See, sheltering in place doesn't always have to be bad. Some people think sheltering in place is an awful thing to do, but you can have a good time. You can have a great time. Okay? I did. Also, something that I still enjoy doing since I was a kid. My parents got puzzles for us on holidays, at Christmas, and birthdays. We always got some kind of puzzle, whether it was a 50-piece puzzle or a 1,000-piece puzzle. Sometimes we got 2,000-piece puzzles and even 5,000-piece puzzles. Today, Carol and I love puzzles as well. Complete a puzzle. Put together a 50-piece puzzle, a 100-piece puzzle, or a 1,000-piece puzzle. Take your time and work on it a little bit every day until it is complete. If you don't have your kids, have your neighbors over to help. Have your neighbors over to help you build a puzzle. You could have sodas or some other drink to put together. You could have some kind of dessert or treats to just munch on while you put together a puzzle. It's a lot of fun. Okay? If you have real little children, how about playing hide and seek? How about playing hide and seek? When we were living in Santa, Utah, We had a 1 to 2 year old grandchild. Actually, she grew up in our house. She's now about 6 years old. 1, 2, 3 year old child. Guess what? We played hide and seek with Leilani. We had a great time. I remember doing that with my own children. And now they have children. And I know they do that together as well. Okay? You play an old-fashioned game of hide and seek in your house. Hint, if you hide well, if you hide very well, you'll get some extra time away to rest from the kiddos. Just an idea. Now, embrace the arts. Embrace the arts. Get out your art and craft supplies and create a masterpiece. Create a masterpiece. You can even find videos. I bet you can even find videos on creating art. YouTube's got all kinds of stuff like that, don't they? You better believe they do. Create a masterpiece. You can even find videos of artists like Bob Ross or illustrators like Mo Willems or other people that will teach you step by step how to do it. I had a hobby of model railroading. I built model railroads to operate just like a regular railroad would. I got a 4x8 sheet of plywood. Yes, I cut it down. Depending on the size of railroad cars or railroad locomotives, you can cut it down to maybe 2 feet wide and 4 or 5 feet long. And you can build a railroad. You can build hills, mountains, you can build trees on the mountains, you can build trees and houses on the lowland on your model railroad layout. You can build houses and buildings on your railroad layout. I had a piece of wood on the back side of my layout. It had skies and clouds. I had a good time painting the sky and clouds. Now you might say, oh Ron, you paint skies blue. You do. But then you take and put white clouds or gray clouds in there as well. All of a sudden, guess what? I had people ask me, Ron, did you paint that? Or did you buy it somewhere? That's how good that backdrop looked on my layout. My sky and clouds look real, as if it was either painted or I bought that there. I painted it. I painted the mountains brown. Then I sprinkled, and then I sprayed some light glue. I mixed some water with some glue and put it in a small sprayer, and then I sprayed that glue water on the top of the mountain very lightly so you don't wet that mountain down. I built the mountain out of paper mache and watered up pieces of newspaper. Okay? Then I draped the paper mache pieces of newspaper over the rounds of newspapers or paper that I watered up. So I had mountains, and they look realistic. I painted those mountains brown, then put a light spray of white glue on there, and then I waited for that white glue to dry somewhat, and then I sprinkled real dirt on it. All of a sudden I had a mountain look like dirt. I painted or put rocks there as well. Unreal. I had houses and buildings. I had tunnels for my trains to go through. And when they came out of the tunnel, all of a sudden, they moved through towns and cities on the layout. It looked real. It takes time to do that. You can do that with your kids. Do that with your kids. Embrace the arts. Use your imagination. Also, some people like origami. I've never played with origami before. Gather some paper and search online for origami and instructional videos. and see which family member can fold the best swan, or the best cow, or whatever you want to build. Origami can be very fun. It takes time, but it can be very much fun. Look out at the stars. Go outside at night when everything else is gone. You can't really play outside, but all of a sudden you have a small telescope or even a pair of binoculars. Go outside and look at the stars. When was the last time you just stood out and looked at the stars? Take your whole family outside one evening. See which constellations you can identify, which planets you can identify. Have you seen a satellite in the sky yet? Maybe you can find satellites going by, or even jetliners high in the sky. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. Something else that I've found over the years to be a lot of fun myself. Celebrating special events. Celebrating special events. How many of us have special events that we cherish doing? Special events. Even though you are in self-isolation or a shelter-in-place order. Hopefully it's not like COVID was. But you were in a shelter-in-place area where there's a fire on the outskirts of town and you can't leave town. Okay? Shelter-in-place events. You were in self-isolation with your family and your friends. You can still celebrate special events in your lives, birthdays and holidays. Or maybe it's just a reason to get together. Think out of the box. Think out of the box, guys. What would you do? Maybe you build a bird feeder with your children and put that birdhouse and sorry about that. Put that birdhouse or that bird feeder out in the tree, out on your fence, and see how many birds that congregate that you made that bird feeder for. Lots of fun. And your children enjoy it too. Build something as a family. Talk about something, your home or neighborhood. Talk about something that might be missing in your life. Then build it. For example, consider building a little free library for your community. Build a bookcase with a roof over it and plastic or glass over the front side of it to protect the books, so that members of your neighborhood can come over there and borrow a book. You put a book in there and you can take one home. And when you get through reading that book, you can bring it back and get another book. Build a neighborhood library, a free library for your community. How about putting together garden beds. Garden beds for veggies or flowers. Lots of fun, huh? Absolutely. A lot of fun. Also something that you do together if you have to shelter in place is practice your family's emergency preparedness plan. By now, we've talked about a lot during our time here on Fridays or other times about emergency planning. I've talked about putting together an emergency preparedness plan. Now is a good time for your family and your neighbors to get together and practice your plan. You've written that emergency plan, now practice it. You're all home, you're living through a pandemic or a shelter-in-place event where you might be sitting down or staying in that area of your neighborhood for a week or maybe longer. You have your kids that are old enough. And then this time might be never better than any other time. Practice your emergency plan. What are you going to do during this kind of emergency? Think about it. Think about it. Talk about your emergency preparedness plan, or you want to put together your plan now. Write it down. Think of things with your family. Ask your family members what you would need to do if you had an emergency happen right then. What would you do? Where would you go? What things do you need? Write it down. Practice your plan. You're going to want to practice your plan at least twice or 3 times a year anyway, once you write your plan. Practice it. Practice it with your family. If you've got very close friends that you may want to have bug out together or shelter in place together, plan it. Plan it. Today's never better than any other day. Plan it and do it. Practice it. If you're having to bug out, pack your bug out bags. Pack your bug out bags. Along those same lines, this is a very meaningful time with your kids to pack their bug out bags. Now, teach an old dog new tricks. If you have your pet, okay, we talked about digging a garden, planting seeds, going out in the yard and having fun, throwing a ball with your dogs and cats, playing with your pets. If you have a pet, spend some time each day teaching your 4-legged critter some new tricks. How about dancing with those 4-legged critters? Even Carol and mine dogs here. We've danced with them. We've taught them tricks. We've taught them tricks. When I've had treats for them or for all of us, I taught them new tricks. How to wait for those treats, how to sit for those treats, how to stand up on 2 legs for those treats, how to roll over, all kinds of things you can have fun doing with your pets. And yes, I've also had a cat that I've done that with. I miss my cat. Her name was Rocky. She was a great cat. But you can treat your animals just like your 2-legged human kids. They will enjoy it and so will you. Involving your pets with your children as a family will draw you all closer together. And then if there is an emergency and you have to bug out, your pets are already aware because they practice with you. They've been there through it with you. Practice with them as well. Now for some ideas for entertaining or educating your kids and or your pets. Your kids are going to get bored, or they may even go stir crazy along with you. You can alleviate some of your whining, their whining, if you are prepared in different ways to be able to entertain them, and doing so will also entertain you. And you guys are going to have some laughs. You guys are going to have some fun times. Now, while they should be having fun during this break in time, this shelter-in-place event, there are some entertainment options that are also educational. Find some safe forms of media that you may want to loosen your screen time rules for this period. However, you can use the website Common Sense Media to find parent reviews for all kinds of media. Applications, movies, videos, video games, to make sure you and your children, or even your pets, are making safe choices. Safe choices. You might also want to explore something new on a virtual field trip. Notice I said virtual field trip. Have your kids search places that they wish they could go and take a virtual field trip with them. You're going to have a lot of fun as you explore museums, as you explore outside with them. Yes, it could be virtual, but they are going to have such a good time showing you things that they would like to do. And when that shelter in place is over, all of a sudden you've also developed new things that you'd like to do with your kids because you know the things that they would like to do with you. Museums, zoos, aquariums, going out on a hike outside your house, out in the canyon. Think about it. Virtual tours are free. Virtual tours are free. Encourage them to write in journals. Throughout the last almost 6 years now, I've talked about keeping a journal. Keeping a journal that you write things you want to do yourself. To write things that you've already done. Write those things down. Write the things down that you've made an impression on your life with. Something that your children or your relatives might enjoy knowing about you. Or maybe something that you had fun doing with them. Journal. Write journals. Remind your kids that some of the most important historical findings come from people's journals. Encourage them to write about the pandemic. To write about their time going to school. Things that they'd like to do in their school classes. How about the games they'd like to play? Or the sports they like to play in? Or things they do with their friends that they find fun? Write those things down. This journal could be a historical document as well. Documenting your time with your children, or your children's children. And later on, during your life or theirs, they'll go back through your journal and have a good time reading it. The journal will be a great place for you and a great place for them. Okay? Also, something you can do while you're sheltering in place. You may have to do some chores, won't we? Reward your children and or your pets for helping you complete your chores. If your kids will work for a little extra cash, or work for a special prize, or a special reward, use this time together to keep them busy doing chores that you may not want to do by yourself. Working together can be fun. Working together can become very educational, like I had fun working with my son building that wall. He and I both learned a lot, and our family learned a lot, and we had fun doing it. And we had a beautiful wall to watch or to be in our yard when we're finished. Teach your children something that they might not learn in their schools. Teach them what they don't learn in their schools. Thankfully, schools and teachers have provided ample at-home learning resources. Consider this as a special time for you to teach your kids things that they won't learn in school. Or teach them something that you have already learned during your life that they might not know. How to change the oil in your car. How to make a special treat. How to make mashed potatoes. How about how to peel carrots or something else like that? Or how to sew on a button on clothes, or how to stitch up clothes that had a hole in them. My parents did that. How about also teaching your kids how to balance a checkbook? How to balance a checkbook. Think about it. Let your kids teach you as well. Allow your children to teach you something. If you want your kids' full attention, ask them to teach you how to do something they are interested in. Like how to use Snapchat, or do that TikTok dance. Yes, my kids have TikTok. And occasionally they send a TikTok video over now. Yes, I have all kinds of extra protections on my phone so I don't get a virus or anything else. I've also put up information that's not necessarily true that China demanded in order to have that TikTok. So I've gotten around their algorithms, and I'm able to see my children have fun. TikTok dances. Snapchat. Yes, my kids, each and every one of them, have Snapchat. I don't normally use it, but I enjoy when they send me interesting things on those apps. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And this gives them time to teach me things that they like to do. My son and daughter-in-law don't have kids, but they've taken our granddaughter out on outings, both with family and with their friends. And they send us back pictures and videos of their times with our granddaughter. And oh, how we do enjoy that. Think about doing that. Think about how we're doing that. SagePub says how to properly start and maintain a fire. How to build a fire and maintain it for cooking or heat. Very good idea. Emergency sheltering skills. How about how to pitch a tent? How to pitch a tent, or how to set up a grill over your fire to cook food with. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. How about entertaining yourself? We talked about how to entertain our kids. How about entertaining ourselves? I have a lot of videos. My wife and I have tons of videos here in our house. We have hundreds of hours of videos, literally. We could watch videos for the next 5 years and maybe not see the same video twice. Okay? Binge watch a TV show that you really like. I have MASH. I've got every season of MASH. I've got every season, 8 seasons of 24. Yes, I love 24. I've got several seasons of NCIS. Carol and I have other seasons of other programs. We have movies here. We have old movies and new movies. We pick up these movies at thrift shops. We pick up these movies at Walmart for a little bit or nothing. I think the most we've ever paid for a movie is $5. I bought a really good show that I hadn't seen since the 70s at a community fair before Christmas. Unreal. Binge watch a show that you really enjoy. Sharpen your cognitive skills. You never had time to complete the Sunday crossword puzzle. Guess what? When I was a police officer, I sharpened my skills to write reports by doing crossword puzzles. Now I do crossword puzzles all the time. I have 2 crossword books here in my library. And when I have a little bit of free time, I do a crossword puzzle while I'm watching TV or doing something with my wife. How about doing Sudoku? Or, well, I'm sorry, I may have mispronounced it. Sudoku. Sudoku. S-U-D-O-K-U. Sudoku. Wonderful ways to keep your brain sharp. Learn about something new. There's always something new that I don't know about. Is there something you've always wanted to do or always wanted to learn? How about knitting and crochet? My ex-wife taught me how to crochet. I learned how to crochet. I crocheted an Afghan once. She also taught me how to use needle. I was taught as a young child how to sew holes up on clothes and stuff. Then I learned a new way to sew. I sewed an eagle on the back of my scout jacket as a leader of my troop. My Scoutmaster jacket has an eagle on the back of it, and I still have that jacket today. No, I no longer am in Boy Scouts, nor do I want to do anything with Boy Scouts now. I have no respect for scouting at all after they screwed it up. But I learned to do things with my hands. Learn how to knit or crochet. Learn how to sew. Now, you might not have the time or the money Money's tight, isn't it? Search for lessons on how to do things on YouTube. Search for lessons on how to do things on YouTube. Search for lessons on how to save money. Search for lessons on how to store food. Search for lessons on how to plant vegetables and be able to harvest them, and harvest a lot of them. How many times have I planted something and the plants died? I don't have a green thumb. My thumb is actually quite pink. Okay? Search for how-to videos on YouTube. They're all over the place. You'd be surprised on how easy it is to learn something new. Think about that. Think about that. Make a to-do list for home repairs and tackle it. I'm sure each one of us has a giant list of home repairs. Start today when you have to shelter in place. And you'll be amazed at what you can get accomplished. Read, read, read. Read books. I have a whole library of books in my bookcase here. At one point in time in my life, I had 2 large bookcases full of books. Unreal. And if your local library is shut down, you can't go to the library, don't forget the libraries online has resources, which include downloadable ebooks and audiobooks as well. Find ways to help each other and to help other people. Often one of the best ways that I know to feel better about myself and feel better about others is help someone else. Volunteering in your community. If you have a reason to shelter in place, or some emergency has kept you in your local neighborhood, there's no better time than the present to help each other and get to know each other as a neighborhood. Make friends. Make friends. You can also take an extra roll of toilet paper over your neighbor's house, or a food dish for an elderly neighbor that can't get out. They might appreciate that. Or another neighbor that might have had a brand new child, or for some other reason couldn't get up to help themselves, and we got together as a family and provided them with meals. Clean and organize your home. Clean and organize your home, your living room, your bedroom. You'll never be feeling any better than have clean clothes and a clean place to sleep and a clean place to play. Clean and organize. Now these are times we have right now that are unprecedented. Times we have right now are unprecedented. Take this opportunity to make the most of this situation with your family and your loved ones and those neighbors that you care about. Take this opportunity right now to get to know each other better. Now there are 8 ways to survive at home isolation. Isolation at home is not so much fun at all, but you can make the best of everything. While you might feel trapped in your home, I've already given you ideas on how to make it better, to keep everybody happy and organized, to keep everybody occupied. Okay? If you feel trapped in your home, it might be another matter entirely. Maybe you're facing ongoing threat from an epidemic, a pandemic, or other threat that might happen in your neighborhood, in your city or town, or in the nation. Maybe you just have the most rotten luck to be placed under house arrest for some reason. Yes, I've been threatened with house arrest many times during the pandemic because I refused to go along with their garbage outside. But moving along here, moving swiftly on, one must be very wary of contracting cabin fever, going mad from the doldrums, and other psychologically or emotional imbalances that might result from having your day-to-day routine completely turned upside down. being forced to inhabit a comparatively small space for a long period of time, perhaps with some other people or with your family. At least you have some other people there with you. It is so easy to poke fun at each other, to poke fun at yourself, because you are the one that has to go through it. As it turns out, lots of other people just don't have to abide very well by themselves. But if they have somebody else to discuss things with, to bounce things off of each other, it makes it a lot better. Okay? You yourself and I are great company. You yourself and I are great company. Think about that. When it comes to entertainment, me, myself, and I can be very well entertained if we want to be. Okay? You can make fun of yourself, you can poke fun at yourself, you do all sorts of things together. Keep yourself occupied. Now, as it turns out, many other couples who would otherwise enjoy each other's company may turn hostile if forced to endure too much of it. Sometimes you really can have too much of a good thing. One of my friends, Bill Engvall, he's a comedian, a stand-up comedian. He talked about being forced to stay in the house with his wife during the pandemic. He couldn't go out and do shows. Yes, he did stuff on the internet. He put on shows on YouTube. He and his wife worked things out so they could stay busy, and she could help him and he could help her. They could otherwise stare at each other. They could have made meals for each other, but that would get very, very boring quickly. But they decided to do things together. Go over to Bill Engvall's YouTube channels. Watch his videos. Watch his videos. He talks about doing things for his kids, with his wife. They had a good time. And he also poked fun at himself. No matter why you were cooped up, whether you're at home or wherever you might be isolated, today I'm coming to your rescue. Today I've come to a rescue with quite a few things that can help you survive whatever you're going through. I'm trying to help you guys. I'm trying to help you guys. This house is a prison. I can't handle this. Find out things that you can do inside your house. Keep the whole thing in perspective. Be goal-oriented. Set goals. How about 8 different ways to survive home isolation? Think about that. 8 different ways you can survive home isolation. This house is a prison. Why are you keeping me here? I asked that quite a bit back in 2020 and 2021. I hated the idiot who was the president. Hated him. Biden was the biggest idiot. And those people who were advising him were also idiots. And they lied to us. Now, as I mentioned before, you could be facing home isolation for any number of things. Several plausible reasons. The first one is probably the most relevant. An epidemic. A plandemic. One that has gotten so badly out of control or sown so badly with fear that people are practicing social distancing. Guess what? That 6-foot rule to stay away from each other was all planned. Because they didn't want us associating with each other. It was all planned. You don't necessarily have to comply with government-mandated shelter-in-place orders. You need to understand you don't have to comply. Okay? Complying with government-mandated shelter-in-place orders. You may have to, but you may not have to. The idea is if people stop making contact with each other, the virus will have nowhere to go and no one to spread it to. Think about that. Laugh at other people. Laugh at yourself. Laughably for some of you, not funny for others. House arrest is another possible option that might keep you indoors, with your location accounted for. I don't doubt that there are a couple of you out there who might be very acquainted with ugly, chunky plastic tracking anklets. I saw that on a woman Dancing with the Stars. She was under house arrest, but she made a deal with the judge where she could go on Dancing with the Stars, and she hated it. She hated Dancing with the Stars with a passion. But I'm not judging you. I'm not judging her. But I am trying to give you ways to help yourself. Whether it's home isolation because of pandemic or other home isolation for whatever reason. Okay? Keep your sanity intact. Keep yourself busy. Lastly, maybe you're just tired of this world or tired of paying the price to participate in it. And you've decided to radically scale back your lifestyle. You can do that. As it turns out, it's very easy to save a lot of money when you don't go out and partake of activities outside as we've done in the past. My wife and I, as of late, don't go out that often, but when we do, we have a good time. When we do, we have a good time. We do it with reason. We do it with planning. We don't spend a lot of money. We don't have a lot of money, but we have a good time. Okay? But maybe you're coming at it from a different angle, in that you are so dang broke, you simply can't afford to do anything. With only a little bit of variation. Practically, it does not have to even matter why you're being isolated at home, but all that matters is that you're going to deal with it. And you have somebody to deal with it with. Keep it in perspective. I have found that it mildly is hilarious that the same people who go home and stay home at any opportunity, who yearn for going straight home to veg out after a hard day of work, who cannot wait to disengage from the crowded social status out in the world. Social situations in order to retire in the comfort of familiarity and having entertainment-laden splendor of our own homes. These same people who absolutely lose their minds when they're forced to stay home all of a sudden. But it seems to me that one of life's greatest mysteries, but nonetheless, that is what happens for most of us. One of life's greatest mysteries. It is easy to understand a social extrovert's anxiety and suffering when you put them in a box and force them to stay there. But harder to understand for those of us who are more interested in things than even people, and looking inward rather than outward for meaning and understanding and learning opportunities. But no matter if you are a social dynamo or a reclusive bookworm, guess what? I'm one of those as well. I love sitting down and reading a book. But there's one thing that you need to keep in mind in order to maintain your sanity and your emotional equilibrium for the duration of your isolation, the duration of your shelter in place. If you're at home, chances are things are pretty good. You will have nearly all of your things there together with you. That's more than I can say for other people on the outside. We have our belongings here that we love and cherish. We have full control of our environment. And more importantly, we're free to be ourselves in most of our situations. You should not be feeling any pressure or that the heat under the collar that comes from being in an environment that you're unsuited for. Being home doesn't have to be a bad thing. Again, I talked about this a few minutes ago. Be goal-oriented. Be goal-oriented. There's one more thing most people must do in order to keep from going crazy during a time of isolation. And that is to maintain some kind of structure, a plan, some type of objective that you want to accomplish, for whatever reason. If you all plan on doing something under the circumstances, it's being a lazy slug, isn't it? If you all plan on doing something just because, it's like being lazy. Not in my book. Now, think about this. How about contemplating your navel and playing the woe is me game? You're going to have a very, very bad time. But instead, how about focusing on your energy towards achieving something? Whatever it might be, you might actually find that you're very grateful for your schedule, being as it is, so you can focus your mind on something that you enjoy. Suddenly clear your mind out. Coming and going wherever you're going. Clear your mind. Very few of us ever have the opportunity these days to truly commit ourselves to a singular task. And you should not squander it. Make the most of it. On the list of survival tips, I've given you some ideas to help you out, to put your restless energy in order. Put your restless energy in order. Whether you can find to do good or just horse around. Put your restless energy in order. To create a good confinement thing. A good confinement thing in your life. And use it for productive use. Whether it's learning to cook a new dish, whether it's reading a new book, or having a book on your shelf you haven't picked up yet, do it. Do it. Or doing something else that you might not know how to do, and then all of a sudden you find out how much you like it. Like model railroading. When I started that years ago, I had no clue. I got into it and had a ball. And I got my kids involved with it. My kids learned how to make mountains. Then they learned how to build buildings for my train layout. They learned how to make trees for my train layout. We did it together as father and children. We had a great time. Now, you may waste a lot of time on things in your life, but you should never strive to ever waste time. Never strive to waste time. Consider goals. Making a financial plan for yourself and your family. What are you going to be doing in 1, 2, 3, 5 years? Thinking about seriously about a rural retreat you've always wanted to have. And then start finding land opportunities to do that. You start finding land online. Make a financial plan to achieve that goal. Make travel plans wherever you want to go. It could be a local short trip or longer trip. Set up a personal goal of improving yourself, improving your family's life. Reach a certain goal. Have an ideal family. Having an ideal for yourself. Set up yourself emotionally and mentally. Make it a physical goal. Losing weight. That's me. Improving my strength. That's me again. Making detailed plans on how to achieve those goals. That's me again. See what I'm talking about? 8 ways to survive at home. Prepare in abundance. Most people that prepare probably do not need to be told this, but should be prepared for any lengthy stay indoors or out, and prepare in great abundance. You need to be thinking about oversupply and not barely getting by. Oversupply and not barely getting by. Aside from alleviating the hassle and the panic that comes with running low on vital necessities, like food, water, medicine, toilet paper, household goods. You can also use your ample preparations to instill some much-needed variety, what otherwise could be very boring, bland, and maybe even repetitive, among other things. Think about that. If you have a great selection of canned goods, pouch meals, frozen meats, frozen vegetables, you're going to have plenty of a variety for both you and your dietary intake and those of your family members. Okay? You have very much idea of your menus, what you're going to cook and make. Keep up your physical and your mental health in tip-top shape. Keep thinking of new ways to approach this. Yes, it is entirely true that you can survive solely on one or two staples, like wheat, honey, sugar, flour, salt. But the vast majority of people will succumb to boredom very quickly on such a regimented and repetitive diet. Think how you can improve on that. Think of a way, the more you have on hand and in stock, the less you have to leave without. Assuming you might have to travel a short distance. Unless you have, you'll miss in case you can't seemingly resupply it. Think about that. Logically, it is far easier, more often more economical, to buy inexpensive and then stack deep on just the staples and necessities. Buy inexpensive and stack deep just the staples and the necessities. But going the extra mile to include items that you really can enjoy. Or you can serve as sort of a meal multiplier. A meal multiplier, like soup, cereal, eggs, some kind of meat, whether it be fish, tuna, chicken, beef, pork. Meal multipliers. It's a great idea for combating the doldrums. Okay? Helping yourself get through a shelter in place. Again, we talked about a plan. We talked about emergency planning. Work your projected plan. Work your plan. Work your plan. How many times have I got to say that? Write your plan and then work your plan. If you have a list of home improvements, for example, DIY, or other vocational projects that have been just growing moss in your home or outside, this is a perfect time to do those. Keeping your mind occupied, and also doing things you enjoy. Okay? It's a great time to work on those projects. Assuming you have all the materials you need. It'll be a great time to repaint the interior of your house. A great time to paint your room. A great time to clean. Maybe to make a new bedspread for your bed. Or anything. Install trim on the shelves. Install trim in their room. Swap out light fixtures. Or tackle one of several hundred home improvement projects that you might have. Maybe you're feeling a bit crafty. Oh, I can't wait. I want to build something. Maybe create something I can use. I've done it. We talked about a few of those things tonight. You can consider stripping your pistol or stripping your furniture and redoing it. Okay? Build a standing shelf or rack for your prepping gear. Or craft a walking stick. Cutting a walking stick. I've got knives and I've done that. I've got a great walking stick. Now, I bet if you always had a nifty project, an idea that's floating around your head, today is the time to work on it. Today is the time to work on it. Okay? I'm just saying. Today is the time to work on it, guys. Okay? Check your food supplies. Check your bug out bag. Check your 72-hour kit. Check your emergency kits. Check your clothing. Make sure you have the right clothing. And I'm not talking about going out on a date. I'm not talking about going to a dance. But having the right clothing to get you through during an emergency. From shoes to hat. From shoes to hat. Double check all your batteries. Today, Carol and I replaced some batteries that we had used during our Hurricane Helene. We started running short on some batteries and we replaced those today. Okay? Check the oil in your car. Make sure your air in your tires is up to snuff. Make sure your light bulbs are in your flashlights. Make sure everything's working. How about your lights in your car? Make sure all of your fluids are up to snuff. Clean your car, wash your car. Make sure everything functions, including your firearms, your nugs. Now this might sound like a ton of work, but trust me on this. Once you get going, you're going to build up a little momentum. And then it's almost therapeutic, and then once you get going, you can't stop. Because you find there's so many things you want to do. Make a list, and then check those lists off as you do them. Okay? Clean it. Clean that list and add more stuff to it. Also, if you remember Self-Improvement on TV with Tim Allen, guess what? Have a self-improvement marathon with yourself. One time-tested way to combat cabin fever, sheltering in place, is to embark on an odyssey of self-improvement. Embark on an odyssey of self-improvement. If you've been putting off implementing your exercise plan, a healthy eating regime like I need right now, or any variety of other quality of life improvements, now's the time to start it. Now is the time to start it. You might not be surprised to hear this, but when you improve your health, you improve your overall mood. When you improve your health, you improve your overall mood. And exercise is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your family. Get physical. Get physical and improve your mental health as well. Exercise in conjunction with a diet, exercise in conjunction with family activities, and you'll be amazed how far you go. Elevate your life and elevate your mood. That will help you sleep better as well. And the better sleep you get, the more activities you can do. These factors will help you get through the bout of isolation, the bout of sheltering in place and not having a place to go. You're going to find your insanity, I was going to say your insanity's intact. That might be too. Your insanity's intact, but your sanity is also going to be intact. Think about that. Don Patogas here in the chat said, if you would be stranded in space, what can you do? Everything. Everything. Everything nobody can do, you can do. And you might also do it better. Get your level of physical fitness higher. I'm going to work on mine, starting now. Your abundance of free time might be better spent on working yourself and keeping your emotional self higher. And in doing so, the family life that you have will also be higher. If you deal with a lot of stress, carry around a bag or a toolbox full of emotional luggage, or just don't like the kind of person you are very much in general. You're forced to take a sabbatical. It's a great time to start dealing with some of those issues. Again, start a journal. Engage in remote therapy sessions. Try to reconnect with people to right the wrongs that you've been happening over in your life. Carry around junk over your shoulders. Remove that junk. Repent. Start now. Start now. Don't put it off any longer. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Improve your education. Read. Find out things that you want to do, that you can do, that you've always wanted to do. Your education should never stop. Your learning should never stop. Now there's no better time to do it than now. Do it. Become an expert in everything you do. And then share that expertise with everybody. You might find that you're not such an expert that you might have to learn something from someone else. I have. I found that something that might be fundamentally basic to me was extraordinarily complex and esoteric to someone else, or vice versa. You can learn almost anything on your own if you set your mind to it. But if you have other people with you, guess what? All of a sudden things have been made easier, right? Okay? How about your knowledge of medicinal plants? Yes, I have books on herbs and plants. It's taken me time to do that. But Carol and I go over that ourselves. We've learned. We've learned very well. Meteorology. We've learned a lot about meteorology lately. Do it. Learn something new every day. Start. Don't just sit there. Start. Take a walk. Don't listen to what anyone else has to say on the matter. In our day, the only people that scoff at self-directed learning are idiots. And you can take that to the bank. Start up a hobby like model railroading, knitting, crocheting, cooking, gardening. Take up a hobby. Maybe you are in need of deserving a sabbatical after all. Take time for yourself. There's no shortage of things that you could enjoy and fun hobbies to engage with. Do it now. It's time to cut loose and do it now. Completely indulge yourself and indulge your family. You might have a backlog of books to read or things to do, movies to watch. How about drawing items that your kids might enjoy doing? Okay? Take this as educational enhancement for them and yourself. Choose the right books. Choose the right video games. No, I'm not one for video games, but I am one for having fun and doing puzzles and playing board games. Okay? My wife is very good at it. She's taught me. Okay? You have the power right now to engage yourself and have a little escapism. Have a little escapism as well. Online play can help you stay connected with other friends and people, and even your own family. Having online friends that you can play together with games. Think about it. Painters and artists can let their ambitions roll. Their creativity can run wild, even without distractions. Woodworkers can busy themselves in their garage or the workshop. My niece loves that kind of stuff. Years ago, she used to scoff at my brother. Now she loves woodworking herself, and she does a great job. Gardeners and others with botanical bents green thumbs, tend to have their potted plants in their gardens or the gardens and potted plants, as mine are. People with grease monkeys, mechanics in their lives, you also can learn something. Mechanics is always something that I've had a hard time learning because I have not had all the people that knew everything about it. But now I have more people to teach and more people to teach me. Everyone has one thing they're better with. Everyone has one thing above all others. But there are others that can help us. Don't forget that. Don't be afraid to dive headfirst in the direction you want to go. If you can afford it, do it. If you don't have a hobby, make one. Find an existing hobby that might have grown stale. Take up a new one. If you don't know what you might like, now's the perfect time to dabble and have a good time. Hop online and cruise around the internet until you find something that fits with you. Woodworking, acting, starting a blog, starting a journal. Make a YouTube blog. Make a YouTube blog. Friends of mine have done that as well. Painting and drawing we talked about. Playing board games. Improving your cooking skills. Collecting various things such as coins, stamps. Doing coloring books with your grandchildren. Oh, my grandchildren love coloring books, and so do Carol and I. We now have our own coloring books. Think of that. Adults with coloring books. I love painting and drawing buildings, coloring in buildings. I love model railroading. Carol loves plants and gardens. She likes all things that are beautiful. Imagine her coloring book. Doing various DIY projects, using a cry-cut machine. Embroidering machine. That's what I was talking about with my eagle and my scout jacket. Embroidery. I got taught how to do it, and I find it very enjoyable. And I did an eagle on my scout jacket that I'm very proud of. No, it's not an expert eagle, but it is good enough for me. Learn to do magic tricks. My son loves magic tricks. Learn any one of hundreds of card games. There's hundreds of card games out there. Getting started in leather crafting. I used to love leather crafting. Do it. Learn how to sew and repurpose clothing. My mom taught us how to do that. Something you might want to do is meditate. Meditate in prayer. Something that Dawn and I used to talk about quite a bit is learning to use and getting a ham radio license. We talked about ham radio in the past. Now's the time to learn how to do it. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but you can go over to Barnes & Noble and study a ham radio book at Barnes & Noble, then go take the test. Or buy the book and take it home. For less than $20, you could buy a ham radio book, take it home, study, and take the ham radio test. You can do it. Yoga, calligraphy, writing poetry. Yes, I found out years ago that I can write poetry. And I even wrote some novels. Writing poems. Writing screenplays, possibly. I've never done that. Train your dog, finally. Train your dog. Learn to give a massage. Learn the art of storytelling. Become a stand-up comedian like Bill Engvall or Jeff Foxworthy. How about learning to sing? I love to sing. My wife loves to sing, but she mostly sings to herself. Or she sings to me, and I get great joy of that. I love hearing my wife hum around the house. I love hearing her sing. Okay? There's so much more that we all can be doing to help ourselves and help our families. There's no reason to let moss go under our feet. We don't have to deal with isolation alone. Get busy. Get busy. Do it now. In the event of an imposed lockdown, or you have to shelter in place, something nuke went off, you have to shelter in place. How do you deal with it? We got through the pandemic, didn't we? Most of it came through it pretty righteously. Others of us hated it, and we got through it. But we got through it. Going through a pandemic or economic crisis can be devastating for a lot of people. But have a side gig. Have a side gig you can fall back on. Okay? An internet or email business. There are all kinds of things you can do from home. The coding, computer coding, consulting, tutoring, writing, graphic design, and so much more. But no matter what you do and how you market it or deliver it, you might make yourself a pretty good living working from home, or at least enough to take the edge off the very loss of your job, a primary job or whatever. But once the lockdown is over, once the shelter-in-place order is over, more than a few people have also learned a gig. Something you can do together or something you can do by yourself to make some money. Okay? You can figure it out. Stay diligent. Work hard. You may find isolation or shelter in place a jump start to something that you might get over instead of the initial bump. Initial bump where you get bogged down. You don't have to get bogged down. Okay? Keep moving. Get moving with this job called shelter in place. Make a quick list of things that you can do from home for a side income, in fact. Become a coach. Offer online consulting. Start a blog, like I said. A YouTube blog or any other kind of blog. Take up skills on websites like 5rr.com. Capital FIVERR.com. Make DIY toys that you can sell on eBay or Facebook or other places. Learning web design. Working in Photoshop. Learn video editing that I know nothing about. Reach out. Unless you are well and truly completely sick of the world and everybody in it, don't let yourself become completely socially isolated during your period of sheltering in place. Everyone has something that they want in their life, to be friends or family. All of us can be family with someone else. You don't have to be blood to be a family. I've learned that. Just because you can't go see someone outside your house does not mean you have to lose contact with them. Do not let your bonds grow slim. Don't let your bonds grow thin either. Make sure you're taking the time to reach out to those people you care about, and those people that care about you. Enjoy interacting with those people. Call them, text them. Use social media, video messaging, or other applications to get FaceTime with them. Reach out to people that you've lost track of, or you might regret having lost track of. It's never too late until the clock strikes midnight, so to speak. Don't let things go unsaid. Do not let things go unsaid, and don't let people drift away. I learned a lot about when my father died, how much I would have been able to ask him questions and have him tell me things that he did in his life. I wish now that I had had time to sit down with him and have him record things that he liked to do. Things he'd like to say to all of us. Think about that. Think about that. If you're dealing with isolation or sheltering in place because of some event, use that opportunity to network with others and see how their situation is. Because your situation can get a lot better, and so will theirs. How they're handling their situation will make you handling your situation much better, and vice versa. Okay? Verify information. You're going to find out information is very scarce. Okay? If you're feeling particularly sentimental, you could even write someone a letter. Write someone you care about a letter. A friend, a family member, a son or daughter, a cousin, a niece. Write them a letter and let them know how much you love them. Don't lose contact with anybody. No matter the situation, do not lose contact with anybody. Now I'm going to say something that you might feel, or you might have people feel like it's old-fashioned and seemingly completely obsolete. In this era of email and other internet-based communication, I will tell you that everybody loves getting a handwritten letter. Handwrite a letter. Sit down and handwrite a letter. I text a lot, but I need to sit down and write a letter even to my wife and let her know how much I love her. Because one day I might not be here. One day our friends might not be here. And I would have loved to talk to them or see them having written a letter to me, letting me know how much they love me and letting me know how much I love them. There's something about seeing someone's handwriting on a piece of paper that makes a very palpable link to them. That is an unappreciated joy in this modern era. Unless you write something terse in a sort of telegram, I bet most people hang on to their letters and turn it into a keepsake. There are things that I've written or I've had sent to me that I've kept as keepsakes, even letters that you've written, Carol and I. Some of those letters have become very important to us, and we love you for it. Limit news and social media binges. Limit news and social media binges. Okay? Some things might be very positive, but some news might not be. And you don't have to see all the negativity. You don't have to see the negativity. Something that might hurt you physically or mentally or emotionally. It might drag down your health. Don't look at it. Don't be around it. Keep yourself upbeat. Keep yourself on an even keel. Okay? Now, far from keeping you connected and up to date, gorging on any of these news sources will only stress you out, with a pervasive sense of uncertainty, as well as instill a wicked case of FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. Yes, FOMO. In case of the former, if they are peddling you something that will make you enraged or afraid, they have no viewership to speak of. And to all you can count on in this age of new media is the old, classic media, spewing nothing but those two things. Okay? It's not good for you. It serves no purpose, so cut it out. If it's not good for you, it serves no purpose. Cut it out. In the case of the latter, if you're dealing with a lockdown, a shelter in place, but the rest of the world isn't, you're going to start fomenting a wicked case of jealousy and even envy. Specifically, that you are missing out on all the activities, that someone else might get to enjoy that you can't. Don't listen to it. Keep your sanity. That gnawing feeling of FOMO, it can make you crazy if you let it. Don't do it. If you're focused on all the things that you're missing out on and feeling bitter on it, you aren't focusing on taking care of yourself or taking care of your family members, including your pets. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of your pets. Make sure you're growing. Make sure you're learning. Make sure you're resting. Make sure you're relaxing. Or anything else at all that you could and should be doing. Pretty soon you're going to glance down at your watch, and it will look like the minute hand is going backwards as the walls close in, and the shadows give you whispers of your own inadequacy. Cabin fever plus FOMO is a deadly combination for you and your sanity. Don't let it be. Take control of your life. Don't let anybody else do it. Social media is one of the most difficult things to wean yourself off of. And you should endeavor to do just that. Even if it is your primary way of keeping up with the people you don't want to lose track of. You should throttle back. Throttle back your usage to 30 minutes or an hour a day. Max. 30 minutes to an hour a day max. It is way too easy to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I've done it mindlessly for hours and then days at a time. I don't do that any longer, but I caught myself doing it. Endeavor to have more meaningful interactions with those people that you love, that you want to keep track of, by calling them at the very least. Get back in contact with them. Now, dealing with sheltering in place and isolation. It is a significant stressor for a lot of people. But being armed with the right preparations, the right attitude, and a good to-do list of projects that keep your energies focused on improvement and growing and on focusing on the right things. Doing everything we talked about before can make this weight your own. You can make this weight your own until you finally emerge into a public life again. Much more pleasant, much more significantly productive, and use our list. Use this list that we've given you tonight of 8 procedures and tips to your benefit. Keep it handy when you're forced to stay buttoned up in your home or wherever you might be. Get your house in order. Get your house in order. One of the best talks I had from a church service was about getting my house in order. A man named Spencer W. Kimball gave that talk. And I've gone back to that talk many times. Get your house in order. Tonight, and I said this before and I'll say it again, write your emergency preparedness plan now. Right tonight. Write your emergency preparedness plan now. Don't wait. Get your emergency preparedness kits now in order. Get your emergency preparedness kits in order now. Do it now. Pay close attention to these national emergencies and what comes along with it. Pay close attention. You're going to feel better, and you're going to be able to be ready for whatever happens. Now, there's something else I want to share with you tonight. A friend of mine shared a photo with me. See if I can find it here. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. Let me see here. One of my friends shared a photo with me. It was a cross on a hill in Morganton, Colorado. There's a great big huge white cross in Morganton, Colorado lit up with lights. I guess I'm going to have to show it to you on my device here. I'll never forget this. It struck home so many times with me. And I want to share it with you tonight because I think it's important for each one of us. Think about this. When I lived in Littleton, Colorado, I drove by a small town called Morganton. Not more than 300 people lived there, but there was this great big huge cross on this hill. A great big huge cross on this hill, all lit up at night. When I'd go bike riding out here, or I'd just be going down the highway, this was actually comforting to me. Now, a lot of people have crosses on their churches. A lot of people wear crosses on themselves. And that's all fine and good. I don't worship crosses for a reason. The cross is an instrument of death. A sepulcher. A sepulcher with a stone rolled away from it is a symbol of Jesus Christ's resurrection, which is a central tenet of Christian faith. The empty tomb is considered a better symbol of Jesus Christ because it directly represents the core Christian belief of the resurrection, the Easter purpose of Easter, signifying that Jesus Christ conquered death and offers hope of eternal life for each one of us if we believe. Finally, for me and my faith, the cross is a symbol of the dying Christ. Well, our message, and a message I've shared with you many times in the past, I'm sharing with you again tonight. Our message is a declaration of the living Christ. The lives of our people must become the only meaningful expression. The lives of our people, our families, must become the only meaningful expression of our faith. And in fact, the very symbol of our worship, the life of Christ, the importance of worshiping the living Christ, that cannot be overstated. I love this idea of putting more focus on the living Christ. Now, who can we pray to? And he can give us direction today. Jesus Christ. Just as he gave us direction in the scriptures, he can give us direction today. Just like as when he walked the earth. This does not mean that we can't wear a cross as a symbol if we wish. Yet there are some really cool empty tomb symbols that you can wear on a necklace or as a bracelet. By the way, you can see this cross in Morganton, Colorado that I showed you for miles and miles if you wish. Sometimes when I drove through Lakewood, I saw the cross in Morganton. I saw the cross in Morganton from just outside of Littleton, where I used to live. You can see it when you're flying from west to east and east to west, outside of Denver. Lastly, I love symbols. I love symbols in general. When I used to land at DIA, Denver International Airport, I used to look west. I could see that cross on the hill. I'm open-minded about any symbol that represents our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth. The one and only I love is being a disciple of His. I love being a disciple of Him and a follower of Him. I'd love to hear an amen. I would love to hear an amen in the comments. I invite each one of you to ponder this thought tonight about what we've talked about. Ponder it in your heart and let the Holy Spirit guide you. Ponder it in your heart and let the Holy Spirit guide you. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I love you as much as I love the Savior Jesus Christ. Let the Holy Spirit guide you to continue to receive further light and knowledge about Jesus Christ. Let the Holy Spirit guide you and direct you, and I know He will. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care about you. That's why I've been here. That's why I take this time for all of us. Yes, in some cases, it's a relearning experience for me. But sometimes I needed to hear it as well. Let's think about what we talked about tonight. Make preparations. Take charge of our lives and bring it full circle. Brothers and sisters, I love you to pieces. And I ask the Lord to bless you and to keep you. God be with you, everyone. God be with you this night. Susan Bishop Durham, thank you for being here. Chrissy, thank you for being here. Michael, Dawn, Sage Pup, Sharon, everybody that's been here, thank you for being here. We love you. I love you very much. May God be with you this day and always. May God bless you and keep you. May God herald your presence here on this earth and help you become more like Him. I ask the Lord to bless you and keep you. This is Friday. We take Saturdays off unless something happens. I see this every day and I mean it. If anything else happens tonight or in the morning, we will be coming back on the air to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. We've done it now, we've done it before. I will be back here on Sunday about 12 noon, 12:30 for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, a Sunday school class talking about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. I look forward to seeing you all here Sunday about 12:30. May God be with you this day and always. God bless you and keep you. Hope you have a good night, everybody. Feel my love for you. Yes, Carol and I love cards and letters. Don just posted our address here. 104 North Green Street, Box 105. Morganton, 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 North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. Please send us cards and letters, and we'd appreciate it. Send us donations to our P.O. Box or send us donations to PayPal and our Venmo. That information is right below this video in the top of our program description. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless. Good night.